Hey guys, welcome back to the Fuel Show. I am Tyrone McCray, man. I'm so excited. We are here again, and you probably see some familiar faces. I have Brett Smith with me, my lovely wife, Tanya McCray in the building, and we got a special guest today.
Hey, my lovely wife.
Yes, his lovely wife, Lisa Smith.
Lisa.
Okay, she got a little song going.
Hey.
So we got Lisa Smith with us today. Man, she's a awesome, amazing, creative, and entrepreneur. And so we're gonna have some great conversation today. Like we said, man, here in Fuel, this is where we have conversation topics, of course, about entrepreneurs and leaders, and we just financial responsibility, the heart to invest into other people. And so we're going to have some great conversation today. And the topic for today, I think, is so important, especially for new aspiring entrepreneurs, and maybe some that's been doing this for a while, and you cannot find the balance between entrepreneurship and family. Right. So we're going to talk about that today, entrepreneurship and family. And I really wanted Lisa to come on, and as well, Brett, having you back on today to talk about this, because you guys are doing a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff, kicking off businesses, and Lisa, especially you, we've talked a couple times, and today we just want to talk about handling that. How do we cope? How do we take our dreams and our creativity, the things that we feel like it's in our heart to do, and to launch these businesses, but at the same time, not abandon our families, and not lose sight of family. And you see so many entrepreneurs and so many people, you're starting business and you're excited, you're going after your dreams, but if you're not careful, you'll forget about the ones you're building legacy.
100%.
Right? Yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's just, and Lisa, being that you are our guest, I want to hit it off, man. Of course you do.
Can we do a quick plug?
Yeah,
what she
for
does,
sure. Oh, yeah.
intro?
I'm sorry, Lisa. Let's talk about the business.
Yeah.
What? Let's tell us about
that good
just so you guys know.
He's just trying to get my
what
money.
she does.
He's trying to get my money.
Yeah, but we need to know. I didn't introduce. They'll probably say, "Who is Lisa? Who is she doing?" So what do you do, Lisa? Tell us about your business.
I actually am the owner of 2 businesses.
Yeah.
Currently, I own Created Inc., which is an apparel print-on-demand company. And I co-own Self Love Club.
Love it.
Which is a monthly affirmation t-shirt subscription service for women.
That is so needed.
Yeah, and then I'm a mommy. And a wife.
And a wife.
That's
And a
3.
wife.
3 jobs.
Yeah.
Three
Yeah.
jobs.
And
The
not
wife part was last. Did you guys hear that?
No, it's first.
See, that's what we're having
I
this
don't know if it's
conversation.
like save best for last or like that's.
That's exactly what it was.
That's what it was.
Save the best for last.
But not including all the things you do here, at Kingdom Life, man, and creative. She does she prints on demand, but she does a lot of our apparel. Matter of fact, didn't you do the Hey Fam shirt?
Shout out. I did.
Yeah.
I did. Shout out.
Yeah. So, really, really busy.
Yes. Busy.
So let's talk about that, though. Especially for maybe the creative who aspires to be an entrepreneur, but at the same time, being a mom, right, and launching a business.
Yeah.
And then you're still working full time.
I still work full time for a school district.
Wow.
Not to mention.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you handle it, Lisa? How just kind of, and let's talk about this too, because I do want them to hear the challenges. They look, a lot of times we look on the outside and we say, man, they're killing it. They're grinding.
Yeah.
But then we don't understand, man, the tough times and the thought process. I'm pretty sure there were times you thought about hanging it up.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get through that though?
I think that, especially in the beginning, you are so excited about, your new venture, your new business, that it's really kind of your focal point. And you can kind of almost become tunnel vision. And like your hours just seem like I can spend all my time on this right here. And I think in the beginning, we started a couple years ago, really. Both of us started our business at the same time.
Wow.
And just really didn't even think much about it. We just kind of went in. But I think the biggest frustration and the biggest kind of like heartbreak and the points where we want to quit most of all is when we realize that we've been kind of neglecting our family and our home. I think they call it mom guilt, right? That mom guilt is so real, and that'll make you just want to shut down
Everything.
And like get your little babies and bring them in a room, and we do family night every night now.
It's like a weekly little mild anxiety panic attack.
It is. And so I think balance is 100% important.
Right.
When you're an entrepreneur building and you have a family, you have to be able to pivot quickly when your kids and your spouse is needing you. But you also have to have balance. If you've been going hard for 4 days straight, and really and your kids have been eating fast food, nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But I think it's amazing because our families and our children will actually give us cues. We were just talking about that, how our kids will give us cues. Like they kind of have already zoned into their games, and we've kind of pushed them to the side, and we're like, go get your own dinner,
Right.
And we can tell when we've done that for a few days straight. And so that's when we kind of have to pivot quick and be like, okay, this email doesn't get answered tonight.
Right.
This doesn't have to happen, tomorrow. My family is most important.
Let's talk about this though. As I was listening to you share that, what does it do to you though as a person? Like, think about it. You're going from what you're trying to establish in the business.
Yeah.
Boom. Then you realize, oh man, I've been, haven't really been giving myself to my children or my spouse. And you're doing that, but then you as an individual, for a creative, that's got to be tough too, as far as your own creativity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, staying sharp, because sometimes, wanting to quit, you have you talked about mom guilt, but also you have to stay fresh.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, especially when the type of business that you have that requires creativity, and that requires your innovation and the energy that goes behind it. Right. I mean, I think it's you have to be so careful, not only balance, but what I'm saying is that balance, that time for yourself to be able to recharge. Right. How do you guys, and not just Lisa, but Brett, y'all in the same home.
Yeah.
So how do you guys do that? Like, how do you taking your cues, or do you even have your own cue, right? When your body's telling you, like, man, this might be a little bit too much, because you're going from, like I said, one thing, and then you're putting all of your energy into your family. Yeah. But I think it's so important that you don't forget about yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think one of the things, a couple aspects, one is like, just, I don't know, our family, really our community, everybody here at church, everybody that we kind of, our inner circle, our closest friends, everybody's like really just go-getters. Yeah. Everybody's always kind of like, nobody sits down and just chills. Nobody we're like just a big group of people that are always, moving and always trying to do more and express more and provide more and give more. And I think that's one of the challenges, because you mentioned what are our own internal cues, right? And that's probably beyond like the family thing. I think that's the harder part to recognize.
Yes,
because those signals will come and you'll start to feel that burnout or whatever, but mentally you just block it out and you just keep going. Right. So I think that whenever you have the family, it's also an opportunity, because they balance that aspect. That's a good point. So. And I mean, unless you just ignore that cue too, but it's it's a lot harder to ignore your kids, kind of acting up because they want that attention than it is to ignore your own internal cues. Right. So that's one aspect, is having that balance with the family. And then as far as like taking in those cues, like you mentioned, there's like a communication aspect between the parents. So me and her, I also have a business. She has two businesses. I also have a full-time job. She has a full-time job. Yeah. She also works a couple ministries here. I work a couple ministries here.
Right.
And so it's like this constant, going back and forth. And it's so easy to just burn out completely, to the point where, I don't want to be on here, being like that guy that's all like teacher's pet. But really, if we weren't under the right leadership, right. And we would succumb to that burnout and just, give in. But thankfully, that same group of, hard chargers also have checks and balances in place in their lives. Yeah. That we've been able to glean off of. Mm-hmm. And then learning, no, how to say no. Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then just a bunch of different aspects go into how we we pick up those cues and take action on them and say, you know what, we've been going pretty hard. Why don't we step back a little bit?
Yeah.
Kind of unwind. This perfect example. Me and Lisa this summer, we said, hey, July, everything's getting shut down. Doing minimal. I'm doing minimal business work. She's doing minimal business work. We're both pulling back, doing minimal ministry, doing minimal everything. Even my job, I talked to my boss today. I said, hey, I'm going to be taking a bunch of days off this month. So let me know how you feel about that.
Let me know how you feel about it.
How did that go across?
It actually, you know, that's, and then the central piece, in my opinion, is just that God factor, that grace factor.
Yes.
Because I've already shared my testimony about the current job I work at USA. I shared that here with everybody. And it's just been a blessing after blessing after blessing in my life. And so I even told him today, I said, hey, I'm going to be taking some days off. And he said, hey, man, if you got days, take them.
Wow.
He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
But you know what, man? Someone was sharing something with me last night. I think because the grace aspect and because your heart, like, man, I'm a firm believer that your yes, even though it does require a lot of sacrifice, like Sabbath, the heart, the concept of Sabbath was God.
Yes.
And so, you know, we hear a lot here, sweatless and different things. And I think that because we do go so hard for the Lord and we try our best to be obedient and do it in a way that it pleases him, I think that in turn, God like graces that on our job.
Right.
Like, puts us in positions because
100%.
the favor that a lot of people talk about, like that the experience, and you know, you have to kind of sit back and go, wow, I don't have it easy, but I'm favored.
Yes.
You know, I'm favored. And so I think, and I say that, and what I hear is that I think you have to, and it sounds like a cliche, but when you are an entrepreneur and you want to make sure that you provide that balance so that you bring your family along with you, right? Because it'd be a tragedy to have a business, build this business that's successful, and then you have no one to leave it to because your kids are like, I don't want to do it because they resent your business.
Yes.
It's like, it's like the business version of like a PK. You know, like,
exactly. It is. And I'm glad you said that because like for us, you know, it was in my heart to make sure that my children did not resent ministry. You know, I always heard the PK story. And I was like, my children are not going to be that way. And I was going to be able to show my children that you can go hard for the Lord, be 100% committed, but yet God, like, and still not just enjoy life, but you don't have to burn yourself out to the point where you resent the one that's called you. You know, and so God it's been a blessing because, you know, we had the Spartan, which was outreach program, but my kids both played football. My daughter cheered. So, you know, the weekends, I was at every game. You know, I got a chance to coach my own kids. You know, and these are things that I would have done had I not been a pastor. But to be able to do that and spend that time, you know, my kids, and I tell them all the time, like, Kennedy, you can never say that God ever put me in a situation where I had to put other people before you. You know what I'm saying? Like we really worked hard on that balance. And it did require a lot of sacrifice on my own personal time. And, okay, we got to be here. You know, my wife said, okay, this is what we got. We're working as a team. All right, I'm going to get Candy over here. You get the boys over here. All right, I'm going to finish at the church. Then I'm going to run over here, you know. And, but the gratification that came out of it, I think it fueled us a little bit too. You know what I'm saying? So
it was a lot of sacrifice, but great reward. Though,
definitely.
You know, even in our lives and with our children, it's been great, you know, just reaping the rewards of it, being there for them, and even in ministry, and the grace that you said that's on our life from our yes, and still being able to be present with our family. So it's been a great reward. Lots of sacrifice, but great reward.
So let me ask you guys, how does you talk about these cues? Like, what are some of the things that
I want to know about the challenges, though.
Oh, okay.
We kind of skipped over the challenges.
All right, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that.
What would you say? You know, I heard you guys say burnout, and you said, you know, frustration with mommy guilt and different things like that. And you mentioned balance a lot. But what would you say is has been the greatest challenge?
I think the greatest challenge has been, I think the guilt factor, if I'm honest. I think that's probably what kept me up late at night more than anything. Was like looking back on my day and being like, man,
I didn't.
yeah, I did that order. Yeah, I got a new customer here, but man, like I didn't even see my children.
Yeah.
Or like,
Kids already
goodness,
asleep,
like,
already.
you know, my husband's already in bed. Like I'm still in the office working hard. And I think that's probably what affects me. Even till this day, I have to, you know, continuously work on it. But I think that's probably what affected me the most, more than anything.
Sorry.
Oh, good.
I think it gets tough too, because we both have experienced those times where the pass or fail of your business for that day has a heavy impact on how you interact with your family. Wow. If Lisa's having a bad day with, you know, some print goes wrong and she has to redo a bunch of shirts. Now she's frustrated. And then God forbid, you know, Christian, our 4-year-old, comes in the office and he wants to grab her tools and start playing.
Yeah.
Now, that's a whole nother level.
Throw
of
the order
frustration.
around.
Yeah.
And then I'm also trying to mitigate that as her teammate.
Yeah, that's so good, Brent.
But I'm also frustrated at this, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, man, you can walk into our house and be like, what is going on here? Like, she's about to break down and cry in the office. I'm like, I'm done with everybody. I'm on the video game. Like, I am done. Kids are running around. Christian ain't got no shirt on. Like, that's it.
Ordering from Amazon.
Animals, ordering animals.
He's on my phone just buying stuff. I don't even know how he figured out how to do that.
Oh my gosh.
That has been, you know, one of those, it happens, right?
Right.
And it's not like a reflection of, do we love our family?
Right.
Are we passionate about our business? Do we have faith in God? It's not a reflection of any of those things.
Right.
It's just a matter of process.
Yeah.
It's taking the stairs, right?
Yep.
It's building that capacity to where now, if what results from those moments is we are like, I don't want to jinx it, right? But like, we've been, you know, probably for the past year and a half now, just like no verbals, just we know, hey, she's in the office.
Yeah.
I'm going to be taking care of the kids. I can't also do work while she's doing work and vice versa.
I was going to say, we call it zone in. So like we
Like
have a
that,
unique
zone in.
situation because we both own businesses and we both work full time. So there are situations where there's one person in the home that's trying to build a business where you have the supporting partner who's kind of helping them along with that. So with us, we call it like zoning in. So if I know I have, you know, an order and I have a deadline, I communicate with Brent and I'm like, hey, I'm about to zone in. I need to zone in for tomorrow. You know, tomorrow I need to zone in. You good? And then he does the same. So he's like, all right, I'm about to zone in. And then that's like our way of saying like, okay,
I got you.
I got the home. Don't worry about managing the home.
Yeah.
You just focus on what you got to focus on.
I'm being a good teammate.
That's it. And I was saying, you know, Ty and I was talking about that. And working as a team, even though you have your own separate businesses, but realizing at the end of the day, it's going to bless, you know what I'm saying, Team Smith. And so while she is doing that, while she's zoning in, you're like, okay, I'm holding this down and vice versa. And hopefully y'all hear that. It's possible. I love what you guys shared about
100%.
that moment of it being chaotic, right?
That's
you know, but you got to be able to work through. And I think, you know, that's one of the things I want to talk about too, is as you mature in it, you're learning the importance of process and processes, having processes in place. Zoning in is part of that process, right? Because, you know, I know there's so many people like, I can't start it. I work a full-time job and I know I want to do this because, you know, I think for people, when you have that kind of passion on the inside of you, you know, and that's a part of who you feel like God has purposed you to be, you want to give birth to that. But then you're like, but I got a family, you know, I got my husband, I got my wife, I got the kids, and, you know, and just know that you're going to have to navigate through those tough times. But it's possible.
But you can do it. You got two people with 2 full-time jobs here.
Right.
So.
You know,
Wow.
it is possible.
Amazing.
But I love that. You have to be able to communicate and come up with the concept or whatever works for you. Like, hey, I'm zoning in. You know, and then to be able to understand that and support one another in that, I think is so important. And that's what I hear. Even when you talk about, hey, the month of July, like what I'm hearing is that you're learning from your experience. And then you're trying to put things in place to be able to navigate, right? And then it's going to help you be able to scale your business, right? To be able to do more because now you understand what we have to do to be successful, not just as entrepreneurs, but as husband and wife, as mom and dad, as a family, as a team. Because at the end of the day, if it works out well, then it does become a legacy. It does become something that you can pass to your children, you know, or something that they can use as a foundation, you know, as a floor to launch into what they want to do. But having said that, what would you share with someone as far as like what you've learned? And we talk about some, but like just establishing process. What kind of processes other than zoning? Is there anything else that you guys do together?
Wisdom,
you know, that you might be able to share as a word of wisdom?
Experiences, yes.
I think you mentioned it earlier about self-care. That's something that honestly I really kind of ignored for most of my life, except for this past year,
Crazy,
right?
Yeah.
I was like, self-care,
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
I want to give a little bit of background, and I am bragging, so don't forget me.
Oh, Lord.
But this, like, you guys have known her now for a couple of years, like 10 years now, I guess.
11.
Like, just go get her whole life. Even, like, I used to be super lazy. I don't know if you guys know that. I used to be one of the laziest people.
No, you didn't.
So sweet. She was in college, literally going to school full time and working 2 full-time jobs in college, or freshman year in college.
Wow.
And that's just been like the corner, like kind of that central representation of her work ethic.
Yeah.
And then, you know, now we get to, you know, 2020 and things have to slow down.
Yes. Right? Yes.
But go ahead. You were talking about self-care?
Yeah, so I think that was like a huge it was a blessing in disguise to have everything kind of, you know, slow down last year a little bit, because it made me like, I think you had said this, Apostle, in one of, you know, your messages was like, you have to look yourself in the mirror. Yeah. And so last year I did a lot of that, like a lot of self-reflection and like, who am I? You know, why am I so snippy with my family after a long day of work? Or why does this bother me so much? And so it all kind of like came to like the forefront, I think really probably in January when God was like, you have some things that you really need to work on. And you need to learn how to rest. Like I grew up with a mom who was a hustler, like hustle, go. So this is what I'm used to, right? So I'm thinking this is normal, and you should be able to like. Don't pity me. You should be able to work 2 jobs, have a successful family, have a hot meal ready
on the table,
and a husband who's happy. Like you should be able to do that.
But you should though.
But and a house clean, ready for guests at any point.
At any moment. Right? Wow.
But
Go ahead,
just this past year, man, God was like, no, like you have to rest. You're giving every part of you like the worst parts of you.
Wow.
Because you're not resting. You're not taking care of yourself.
So is it safe to say when COVID hit, you were like, you know, on edge because you weren't able to?
I think in the beginning, for sure, I was. But then I was like, ooh, this feels nice. Like this actually, I even told Brett, I was like, this feels like what normalcy is actually.
Wow.
Like I feel like the way we've been living
we would wonder
prior to this.
What do people do? Like, what do people do
that are not
after like 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
We didn't know. Like we legit just had no idea. And I know you guys were saying, especially back whenever we were doing Spartans too. Yeah. It was nothing changed except we added Spartans. So like it was everything we currently do. Yeah. And then so like we would just sit and be like, what do they do after they get off work? Like, and I had friends at work, they'd be like, hey, I'm gonna play this game. You wanna play? And I'm like, how do you
Where?
How do you do that?
When?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I think that's important too for the person who's like that. Like I think, you know, the word grind had become, especially with business, like that was like the trendy thing. Right? I'm on a grind. But I think I love what you're saying because I think behind that, everybody kind of deals with that. Like at the end of the day, you've done all of this. Now what? Well, I got to find something else to do. You know what I'm saying? I got to find, and it's important, I think, so that you can give the best parts of yourself. That you have to have that balance and that self-care, you know, where it's time to eat, you know, time to relax.
Yes,
Sometimes to get to a place, like for myself, I try my hardest, and it took a minute because I was like, Monday's my day off. You know, I'm pastoring, so I don't really say Sunday, and I'm Saturday with all the kids stuff, and then trying to get ready for Sunday. But I was like, Monday, I'm off myself. What do you want to do? It's like, absolutely nothing. So I'm like, she's like, what do you mean? Like, nothing. Yeah. Whatever. I just want to do whatever I decide to do at the moment for Monday.
You were just lying to yourself.
Yeah.
You were
So, no, it was tough. But
It was tough.
it's
but
funny.
he mastered it.
I did.
I mean, like, he did absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
like,
Dad,
you
you
wanna
know
go
I'm not
to eat?
cooking. I'm not
No,
helping. I'm
I
not
don't
buying.
do
I'm not doing
nothing.
anything.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any. And it's to the point where the kids are like, they understood it. It's Monday. So then they were like, well, hey, Dad, this is how they got in on us. Like, especially the boys. It's like, hey, you want to play, you know, Tom Clancy? You want to play?
Yep.
And so I'm like, cool. I'm going to play video games all day.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
what I wanna do,
hey, let's go get something to eat. But it was my way of like just that mental dump because
Have to.
we use so much of our mind
Oh,
in
man.
what we do
Yeah.
Have
to the point where you could be sleeping and you're still not resting.
Man.
Right. So if you're talking about entrepreneurship and creative ideas and staying on point, because eventually if you don't take care of yourself, it's going to affect your business.
Dry up.
It'll affect the
100%.
quality of your work.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
when that's done and that becomes the reputation and now nobody wants to support your business,
That's right.
then that's going to affect how you feel, right, as an individual.
Sure.
That if you're not careful in turn, that can affect your family life.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a cycle.
It's
Like
like
you
a
get into
cycle.
that rut. Yeah.
So y'all hear that? Like, man, listen, when you're doing this, prepare yourself for the chaos and challenges.
Yes.
You got to faithfully walk through them, but at the same time, you want to develop your processes, have those cues in place and things that you understand, and know that while you're building, build the time to rest as well. I love
Yes.
Dave Ramsey. I love, and I took this concept, just applied it to other areas of my life. He talked about when you're creating your folders for finance, he said, create one for blow money.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, you know, and so I took that into this, like when you're creating, create the day to do
Rest.
nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
That's your day of rest. Like
Love that.
in building your business and what you're doing, because you are taking on so much and you have a family, make sure that you factor that in. So
That's
I
a
love, like
big
Chick-fil-A,
nugget.
we close on Sunday.
Yeah.
Close on
You know what I'm saying?
Sunday.
Like,
too.
it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if that's the most highest day people eat out. They won't eat here today.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
And look,
that's
and look at
powerful.
them though. That's but
Wow.
the result is
Yeah.
The result.
and then you taught something years ago about
Supply and demand.
the way that close.
Oh, okay.
Close. But it's on the same vein because
Okay, good.
you taught about
You shot your shot.
yeah, it was good though.
Yeah, you just missed, but you shot it.
It's a little bit.
We'll see if we can. Hey, can we get that? Can we edit that? Can we edit that part out? The laws that God put in place to govern the world apply universally.
Yep.
Not if you're a believer, not if you're a non-believer. It does not matter. The
principle.
laws are the laws. The principles are going to apply.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. They honored that. You know, I don't know anybody that owns Chick-fil-A or anything like that, but what I would imagine would be a covenant, right?
Yeah.
We're going to close on Sundays
Yep.
and honor that day as holy
Yep.
and rest. And then you see nothing stops Chick-fil-A's business, man.
Nothing.
They've been rioted
Monday
against.
morning.
They've been, you
And
know,
that's
like
what I was going to say. That was
Monday
my
morning,
shot.
yeah.
Monday, supply and demand.
Yes.
Even though, you know, Sunday they didn't get the business.
Yes.
Monday
I'll
they
be
get
there.
extra
I'll be there.
business
Hey.
because they couldn't get it on
10:35,
Sunday.
people
That's
lining up
right.
for lunch.
I'm
Right.
That's right.
I gotta show.
So business probably increased for them. I'm sure percentage wise
Oh.
being closed on Sunday.
Oh,
yeah.
it's got.
Yeah.
I agree. It has to. It's like people intentionally saying we only have 3. You know, we only got 3 created ink shirts left in stock. You know, and then everybody's like, "Give me 10." You know,
Right,
like,
right.
I do want to touch on the. There was 2 things that we talked about that I wanted to kind of circle back to, and one was that wisdom, right? What's some of that advice? And I think that when we talked about that chaos, those chaos moments in our house, whenever you know there's kids swinging from the ceiling fans,
Right.
those are not moments of failure. And
Come
that's
on.
something
That's
that's
good.
so hard
Yes.
for people to grasp on.
Yes.
So
is
good.
that if you finally make the decision and you get the courage and you and your spouse talk about it and you guys like, hey, you know, Lisa's like, hey, I want to start this business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, you know, let's do it. Our initial expectation is it should be fluid. It should be
Right.
not easy. We don't expect things to be easy, but it should work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But it's that, you hit those speed bumps and then you start to question, like, I have to be doing the wrong thing.
Is this
Like,
the right time?
Right.
Like whose father cursed you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did your father do to make you? And that's not the case. The truth is, it's just a part of the process. So if you're like struggling, or if you run into those speed bumps, you can't use those as indicators of whether or not you're supposed to be doing what you're doing.
That's
I love that. And before you hit the next point, I want y'all to hit it again, because that is part of the process.
Yeah.
And that's what I want us to talk about that today, because those tough, difficult moments, that's part of taking the stairs.
Yep.
Yes.
So don't give up there. You're building capacity, right? To be able to manage something greater. Like, it's all about stewardship.
Right.
And that's part of learning how, like you said, man, it's crazy. Okay, breathe, step back. That doesn't mean quit, right? That just means that, okay, let's come up with a solution that will work for us.
Yeah.
And part of that wisdom is growing through that experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you said was there something else you had mentioned? You said,
The second thing was that rest, that built-in rest. This is just me. I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but I want to just put that out there, because it could be something. If you're watching at home and you're kind of trying to build in that rest to your schedule, it has to be rest that's not productive in the sense that you're doing something,
right?
Productive in the sense that you understand what you're resting from.
Yeah,
because you can easily get caught up. It's like, we talk about if people miss a Sunday, right? If we miss a Sunday, you stay at home. You're like, man, Sundays mornings at home are great. Like,
the sun is shining.
Yeah, like brunch is open at all my favorite restaurants.
Like, I can watch it later online.
And then you kind of, that becomes your goal now.
Yes.
How can I get more rest?
Yeah.
Not how can I utilize my rest to get more done,
That's so good.
All right. Yes, that was good, Brett.
But that is because, you think about it.
That's real good.
To be a successful entrepreneur, there's a level of intentionality.
Yeah.
And you have to know what you're resting from, right? So that you come back fresh and that you can, advance at what you're doing, versus rest becoming the thing. And next you know, it's like your business isn't working at all because you're sloppy. You're not getting anything done because you're always looking for more rest.
How do you get to the next place where you can take another break?
Exactly. And business does not work that way at all, right? You're being very intentional so that you are sharp, that you are just as creative. I think in those moments, for me, I hear better, and I know it because I know Tuesday I'm back at it.
Yes.
So my Monday, it's like, man, I'm unplugging because I do need to, I can't be tired of you. Right. You know what I'm saying? That I minister to. I have to still be passionate about you, passionate about what I'm hearing, and so that I can go forward and do what I'm trying to do right now, in ministry, in my role. So I think that is so good of what you said, and the importance of understanding that. So hopefully everybody's you're taking some notes, you're taking some things down, and being encouraged, because, like you said, the challenges does not mean that you're not called to do this.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that you're not supposed to. It just means that, hey, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
Part of the process.
So don't be discouraged.
Yes.
I like what you said, Brett, when you said, that courage. It takes a lot of courage to step out there and start a business. So be encouraged, be bold.
Yeah.
Do it.
Get after it.
Yeah, go get it. Go get it. And then, get the right people in your corner.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look to other entrepreneurs who are, doing business together or supporting each other in their different ventures. Get wisdom. Man, wisdom is something you can't read. I always say this, like, wisdom is not information. It comes from experience.
Yeah, yeah.
So you want to talk to people who have gone through these experiences and ask them, how did you do it? What are some of the processes you put in place to help you navigate these difficult times? And listen, let them add value to your life. So look, guys, man, we're going to wrap this up. We pray that it has blessed you. Is there any last
nuggets,
little nuggets of things you guys want to say to anybody that may be watching this?
I mean, how much time we got? I got at least 3 or 4.
You got 3, 4 more nuggets.
Share. Yeah, come on. No,
yeah, I got
closings. Hey, my last close. I'm gonna close for real.
Hey, but you've done a lot better with your closing.
I do, man.
It's it's like intentionality, right?
Yeah, you gotta be intentional. You listen. Like, okay, you watch.
I did have one more thing.
Please go ahead.
And I'll keep it brief. I won't be before you long. But
closing one.
The last thing, kind of what you're talking about with having those people in your corner.
Yeah.
When you go into this with a spouse, that is your corner. Like,
I love that.
That's
Come on.
you. I don't know how to.
Wow.
I don't know how to express this heavy enough. But your spouse. Okay, if I'm the husband and she starts a business, right? Even if I don't have my own business, right? Even if it's just one of the people that want to do it, my job is to be her business's #1 fan, right? Like, I have to do that because if I don't, every time she's doing her business, she's carrying the guilt of my
so good.
my feelings about what she's doing.
Right.
So that coupled with there has to be an absolute open line of communication in this relationship. Those are kind of the 2 paramount things that I think you have to have as a couple, whether it's a couple doing one business or one person doing a business and the other person being supportive role, or, however you navigate that. Those are the 2 components I think that have really helped us. Is I'm not afraid to tell her at this point in our marriage and in because our marriage consists of a lot of things. Romance is definitely one of them, but there's a team aspect that requires me to be able to communicate with her efficiently, honestly, and effectively. So if I have to say, hey, you've been working too much, I need you to spend tomorrow with me. I can't be afraid to say that. And then you, as the business person, have to take down those walls. Because that's the first thing that's going to happen,
100%,
right?
Yeah.
That defense is I'm doing this for the family and blah, blah, Shut up. Shut that up. Take down those walls and just be receptive and say, clearly, one of my areas of operation is needing something, and I have to,
Tend to it.
Tend to that.
Because if you don't, that is so good. Because if you don't, now something that you're doing supposedly to bless the family becomes a curse in the family. And I love what you said. It is so important. And it's tough, coming in, even with me and Tanya, like, to get to a place in your marriage where you can have honest communication. Because sometimes there's things that's like, well, I don't want to say that. It's going to cause harm. No, you have to be able to say, listen, this is where I am and this is what I need. Or this is what we need or whatever. Being able to say, hey, because if not, now we're not talking.
That's right.
Then that leads to more stress. If you are the person trying to do the business, and you don't, I've seen it too many times that the business has become their partner.
Come on.
And their spouse.
Come on. That's good.
And they've lost everything. And that's what we don't want. For you have it, but okay, who you leaving it to? And then now, if you're honest, you're miserable because that's all you do. That's all you have. You don't have that person there.
It's like an imbalance. It's like I said just now, our relationship in our family and in our marriage, naturally we expect that relationship to be entirely that romantic side. So every time I come to you, the expectation is whatever I'm saying has a direct impact on our feelings towards each other. But in honesty, that's not really the case as a family man, because you're a husband, you're a father, you're a worker, you're entrepreneur. So if I come to her sometimes, I can't always come to her with like, hey, you're beautiful, I love you. I do that, and there's a time for that. But if I also come and I say, hey, I love you, but the house is a mess, we have to take 20 minutes to clean. She can't, she can, but it would be wise to recognize that I'm not coming from that romantic avenue, that we're actually on that track where now we're being teammates, or we're being home runners, like home operation managers to fulfill whatever has to get done. And I think the mistake that where couples burn out on is every time that we interact, there has to be that romantic exchange, and it has to be about feelings, or have to be coming to you as a husband. Not that I'm ever not going to be the husband.
Or you take it personal. So if you're the entrepreneur and your spouse is the one that's like the supporter of you, and they're, and they're saying, hey, like we should probably grocery shop. Like,
maybe.
Not to take it personal. I think that was one of my struggles. Was I would take it personal and I would internalize it and be like, oh, I'm a failure. Like I'm a horrible wife. I'm a horrible mom. But it's life. And just like on your job, you know, on your 9 to 5, if your boss is like, hey, I needed you to do that, and you kind of, that fell through the cracks. You pivot real quick and be like, all right, I'm gonna jump on it real quick. Let me not lose my job. In the same sense, it's like, let me not create tension where there really shouldn't be.
Where there really shouldn't be.
Man, I tell you, this is rich. And I really pray, especially for those, well, you know, even if they've been in it for a while, because you could be, you know, in the midst of your business and all that you're doing, and we could be talking to you in your marriage, and your family could be on the rocks. You know, we want to tell you, man, it's look, you know, recalibrate. You know what I'm saying? Take a step back and see what's really important. You know, and you don't want to lose your family, lose your children, lose your marriage because you're trying to kick off your business and do what you do. You have to, the intentionality, you have to know why you're doing what you're doing, right? So, man, I pray that everything that was shared, you know, that is something you can take away. And that it will add value to your life and to your family and to your children, right? Because we're just talking about one another, but you would hate to do all those things. Man,
that's a whole nother podcast.
And it's a whole nother one where you lose your kids.
Come on.
You know.
That was my greatest fear. When I first started, I was like, man, I could potentially build this really dope business, you know, that's like a dream come true of mine. But at the end of the day, I have grown, you know, we have 3 boys, 3 little boys. I have 3 grown men who are like, Mom, like, all you did was hustle. Like, all you did was grind, and you weren't really, like, even in the home. I mean, you were there, but you really weren't even there. And that's, like, my biggest, that really is my biggest fear.
Man, you have to. That was one of our things. Like I said, for me, it was like, I'm going to be present. And not just there. I'm going to be present. You know, so I found ways, you know, for me, it was coaching. It was my daughter's like, I'm going to be present. I'm going to be engaged. When I'm there, I'm there. You know, you're going to say something, Lisa? You just thought, okay.
This was good. This was so good.
We were talking about the quality time thing, right? No? Okay.
Remind me. I don't remember.
So we're talking about that being present thing. And even if we don't have a lot of time with our kids, when we do make the time, even if it's an hour a week, it's got to be quality time. It's got to be intentional.
Got to be. And I think that should be part of your process, though. Like, you know, when we do this, we're all in at that moment. And because you do want to, there's certain, to fulfill your purpose and to have the capacity to do those things, you do have to have a level of drive. You have to be intentional. You have to have that determination and fight. You cannot be lazy and be successful at anything, right? So we do want our children to see it and to know what it takes, because that's the biggest thing now, especially as younger generations. Like, they want this, but they don't want to put in the work.
That's right.
And what I'm here to say is, no, you can put in the work. You think about this. Well, I would say my grandmother's era and time, like, they had to be entrepreneurs simply because of where they were. But family, it never, you know what I'm saying? Like, family was so important and so strong back then. But the drive and the fight and the how intentional they were, you know, like, man, there's so much I learned. The grit, you know, and that level of just drive my grandmother had. But at the same time, man, family was still, it was still strong. You know, and so I want to make sure my kids understand that, no, that's hard work, you know, that you have to put in. But in that doesn't mean you abandon what's going to always be there and what's important, and that's your family. That's your spouse. Well, good, man. Look, guys, man, we could talk about this for a while. You know, maybe we come back at some point, but prayerfully, you took something away, you know, that we fueled you and we pushed you and added something to your life that you realize that it is possible. Don't feel like you're a failure because things look crazy. Look, endure, work through the process. Walk in faith, even in this, right? If you know God gave you this in your heart, you can do it. You can do it. You just got to challenge yourself, put your processes there. Make sure you build in the time for self-care, right? And go get it. Go get it. All right. So, hey, we love you guys, man. Till next time, listen, keep dominating, keep doing what you're doing, and let's advance the kingdom. All right. Love you guys. God bless.
Amen.
Bye.
Amen.